brothers and sisters. I'm going to try this one more time. I've been dealing with YouTube for quite a while now, trying to get this to work. I'm not sure what the problem is, but nevertheless, all praise to be to the Most High. God, the patriarch Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother IsraelTeach, Israel, the household of faith, and I count it truly a blessing each and every single time that I've been coming before you, preach God. I never done count it as a light thing to do so. I'm not going to keep you long. I just want to deal with a question that came up in regarding the name of Jesus and why that name as opposed to some other name. And so I just want to deal with a couple theories pertaining to the name, because there is a lot of contention pertaining to the name and what name should be used. And so I just want to give you a breakdown of how the name Jesus came about. Okay? Because quite frankly, you have a lot of misconceptions about that particular name and how it came to be used. Okay, so I just want to start off. I'll be reading from a book, Hair Like Wool, Feet Like Burned Brass. This is on page 58 in the chapter 4, the name of the Messiah. It reads, "It is true that when the Messiah walked the earth, he was not called Jesus." Okay, there's no question about that. Okay, that should be known. Okay, consequently, for some, the use of the name Jesus has been a point of contention. For instance, many adherents to the sacred name movement argue that the English version of the name for the Messiah is actually derived from the name of a pagan deity, most notably Zeus. Although on the surface this seems plausible, I maintain that there was no nefarious plot to posit the name of a pagan god upon the lips of believers in the Messiah. Rather, the truth is far less tantalizing. The name Jesus is simply a transliteration of the Hebrew word Yeshua. The importance of the name transcends frivolous arguments concerning the letter J and pronunciations of the Messiah. For example, Yahshua. So there's even contention on how to pronounce the name. Is it Y-E-S-H-U-A, Yeshua, or Yahshua, Y-A-H-S-H-U-A? Yehoshua was the name given by Moses to his minister who took the children of Israel into the wilderness. Into the promised land. In Numbers 13 and 16, it is written, "These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called O'Shea, the son of Nun." Moses called O'Shea, the son of Nun, Yeshua. Moses merely added the Hebrew letter Yod to the name O'Shea. So here you see it's spelled He, Vav, Shin, Ayin. And when he adds the Yod, you have Yehoshua. Yod, He, Vav, Shin, Ayin. Alright. Yehoshua means Yahweh is salvation. A contracted form of the name Yehoshua is found in the book of Nehemiah. In Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 17 it reads, "And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths and sat under the booths, for since the days of Jeshua the son of Nun, unto that day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness." Okay, so the name there that's used pertaining to Yehoshua, okay, the captain, that was under Moses, is spelled in English J-E-S-H-U-A. Okay, this contraction of the name Yehoshua, or the shorter version, is found quite early in Numbers 13 and 16 of the Septuagint. The Greek name Jesus, which is here, okay, it's spelled like this in the Septuagint. Okay. That's found in the place of Yehoshua. So, this word Jesus, okay, iota, eta, sigma, omicron, upsilon, sigma. Okay, So in Numbers 13 and 16 of the Septuagint, the Greek name Isus is found in the place of Yehoshua. In Numbers 13 and 16 of the Septuagint, the name Aisu or Isu, which is a different form of Isus, appears. So in that particular form, in Nehemiah 13 and 16, you find the word Iesou. It's spelled I-E-S-O-U, or iota, eta, sigma, omicron, upsilon. This is significant because the Septuagint is a translation of the Hebrew scriptures written in Koine Greek, by Greek-speaking Judeans as early as the 2nd century BC. These scholars transliterated the name of the son of Nun. To transliterate, now they transliterated it. Okay, so let's find out what transliterate means. To transliterate simply means to represent the letters or characters of one language with the letters or characters of another language. So for example, the transliteration of the name Yeshua to the Greek goes as follows. So for example, in here you would have the Yod. Okay, there's no equivalent, so what they did was they put the iota and the eta together. Next, Shin. Okay, they would use the S sound with sigma. Okay, the Vav, omicron and upsilon with the U sound. Ayin. Now, you can't use, it's different in Greek. So this is how you get the Zeus tomfoolery. Okay, because people say, well, Isus because it's after the Greek god Zeus, but they don't understand that in Greek grammar, it requires the iron sound be dropped and the A sigma be placed at the end of the word to show that it's masculine. See, with transliteration, you also have to follow the rules of the other language. It is simply transliteration. Okay? Now, Jesus is the name that is given from the book of Joshua in the Septuagint, as well as the Greek transliteration for the word Yehoshua. Remember, in Numbers 13 and 16 of the Septuagint, we find Isu, which is a different form, Isus, or Isus. So it would seem as though the Judahites, who transliterated the Hebrew text into Greek, thought it appropriate to use both forms of the word. Okay, and again, that's in the Septuagint. In 382, Pope Damasus the first commissioned Jerome to revise the Vedas Latina, or Old Latin, a collection of Latin biblical texts used by the Catholic Church. In the Vulgate Bible, Isus was spelled I-E-S-U-S. Okay, that's how it was spelled. I-E-S-U-S. Let me just write that up here real quick, just so you can see it. All right. The difference in spelling is because the Greek alphabet and the Latin alphabet are not identical. Within Roman Catholicism, Jerome's Vulgate eventually became the most widely used Latin version of the Bible. In November of 1229, the Council of Toulouse decreed that Latin was to be the official language of the Bible and forbade its translation into vulgar tongues. And that's why even in Catholicism, they would read the Bible in Latin and other people could not, you didn't know Latin, you couldn't understand. You didn't understand. If you weren't literate, they kept things with a tight grip, and rightfully so, because they were lying to the people in the first place. So, no different than the Christian pastors today who really keep the truth from people. All right. So now I'm gonna keep going on page 61, because here we can understand how the letter J came into existence. J came to be used, and how Jesus comes about. Because right here we don't have it. We have Jesus, right? So it says, in order to understand how the name of the Messiah came to be spelled Jesus in English, it is necessary to begin with the Norman conquest of 1066. It was about this time that the letter J was introduced to England. Gradually, the letter J began to replace the letters I and Y. and masculine names. When John Wycliffe produced the first English translation of the New Testament from Latin in about 1380, okay, he used Iesus and Iesu. So he used, he spelled it I-H-E-S-U, okay? And he also spelled it with an S as well, okay? And this is the time when people were risking their lives trying to translate the Bible into English, okay? You see it in Matthew 1, and 1 is spelled without the S. And just to show you just how languages change, right? I just want to show you how even Matthew was spelled, so you can get an idea. That's how Matthew was spelled. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I'm looking at the message. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, I'm gonna keep going. And William Tyndale by translation of the New Testament. Okay. From 1494 to 1536 was also retained the Latin spelling, Iesu. So you have this spelling here. And Iesu in oblique cases and in the vocative. The original 1611 King James authorized version of the Bible utilized this spelling, Iesus, throughout. Eventually, though, the letter J replaced the I. Okay, the letter J simply replaced this I in the modern name in English. So the name Jesus is a transliteration of the Hebrew Yeshua. Okay, that's the most prominent explanation. It's not from Zeus, and really, if you know anything about Greek, that's just not the case. Okay. Now, I will say, people will say, well, it would be more accurate to use the Hebrew form that is contended. Because I probably deal with another argument that's used for another word, but at the same time, you have Judeans, Greek-speaking Judeans using transliteration. So if they're using transliteration into Greek, and we speak English, how is it inappropriate to use the name Jesus? And I'm not one to come against those who feel that the Hebrew pronunciation is. I'm not here to argue that at all. But at the same time, a lot of these people that are making these arguments don't speak Hebrew. And even ones who think they speak Hebrew don't speak Hebrew. And there's much contention about which name is used. But this transliteration is pretty much clear. So again, I'm not one to come against people who are using it in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, you can't make a doctrine, or you shouldn't make a doctrine, in the sense of, well, it is a sin to use the word Jesus when it's a transliteration. But everything else we're reading is in English, and we're speaking in English. Why? Because of this captivity. One of the things that was lost with this captivity was our name, our culture, our norms, our ways, our mores, our faith system, our identity, and our language, brothers and sisters. So, again, I don't knock anybody using Yeshua. As a matter of fact, again, to be perfectly clear, as clear as I can, the word Jesus has no denotation. And what I mean by that is you have connotation when it comes to meaning of words, and you have denotation. Okay? Denotation is for example, a dictionary definition. See, Yeshua means Yahweh or Yahweh saves, or is salvation. Okay? Jesus, because it is a transliteration, doesn't have that. Okay? Now that's there's no question about that. So I understand that particular argument. But at the same time, we are speaking English. So I don't see it as inappropriate to use English when that's the language we're speaking. All right, brothers and sisters. And that's just, again, this is one explanation. This is how the word Jesus came about. I hope it was clear. Well, I hope you understood it. Let me put it that way, because it's clear. It's clear. And I'll probably deal with, I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow, but I'll probably deal with another explanation of how you get to Yahusha, okay? Or Yahshua and Yeshua, okay? Maybe I'll do that at a later time. But I just wanted to point this out because there's a lot of contention. And it doesn't seem as if, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like a lot of logic is being used when people are making these arguments,